Hello, and welcome to the final reveal of this. May the Force be with you. It's me, guys. It's only me. It's me. Yeah. The good looking one. Right, guys. Sorry. Bit of silliness. So at last, the final reveal of this. It's another wingy thing, and I'm going to moan my tits off about it. I don't know what to say really. I think it's more so of me. I think it's me that's sort of... I'm still not sort of all that experienced with the aircraft stuff, whereas armour I feel a lot more comfortable with. Certain things I make mistakes on, you know, like because it's two fuselages that go together like that down the sides, whereas I know a lot of the new Phantom kits go on top, so it gets rid of the seam line down the top. I still am sort of... I know what to do, and I'm still trying to go down the line of I stick the one side of, I stick all the glue around one side of it, and then I stick them together, and then I seal it quite tight and put the clamps on, so then it sticks the glue together down the seal, but it pushes it out slightly, so then you can go along and sand and it gets rid of the seam line. However, if you don't do it right and do it too hard, it can sort of push it so it's... and you get a bit of a step, so it slips slightly, so you get a bit of a step. And I think I sort of seal it all together, and then I walk off and leave it to dry, and then I come back a few hours later when the glue's properly sealed, and I can't sort of do anything about the step. So of course sometimes the panel lines are sort of missing, not missing, but wonky, so they don't line up together, and it's just all them type of things. What do I think of the kit? Yeah, I liked it, but I can't see why people rave about Hasegawa kits. Now, I know it's one of the older kits to what they release nowadays. I do know that and I appreciate that. However, when I was looking up this kit and I watched people that, you know, a lot of the reviews of this kit, everybody was raving and saying that it was probably one of the best at the time, 1/48th Phantom kits. Now it probably was. Again, my inexperience is probably, you know, shining through there and not sort of experienced enough to say, well actually it isn't. Well, I know nowadays, I know you've got your Zukimura kits, I know the Academy boxings now are very good because of, you know, the on top thing that I said earlier in the video. So yeah, it's my first time using oils on the on aircraft. I've sort of I'll show you in a minute when I show you. I've done the Randy Cunningham version. I know that he's a bit of a dipstick in America, and I know he's ballsed up his political side, but of course I'm not trying to tell his political side, I'm trying to tell his apparent ace side from Vietnam era. Yeah, it's an okay kit. I enjoyed the first bits of it. Again, perhaps it was me an experience where I've added the Edward photo etch to the interior of the cockpit. When I came to stick the cockpit in, it was sort of, it didn't sort of merge properly because the photo etch was sort of overhanging slightly on the control panels of the instrument panels and that, so I had to sort of go around and trim the photo etch to make it fit. Perhaps I perhaps sanded a bit too much away of the kit instrument panel parts, and they weren't perhaps straight enough. It's all things I'm sort of thinking about for the next time. So of course, in a way, I suppose this project has been a good project for me in the aspect of learning, because I've got all the boxes to do for my next wingy thing, aircraft model kit. So I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll pause it there and I'll get a closer shot and we'll have a look at it and I'll point certain bits out and what I've used and whatever else. So stay there unless I've bored you already, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye. Right guys, so let's try a new angle. Right, so the first things I've tried on here, so I've tried a bit of bits of oil fading on the wing joints where the wings would fold in when it was on the aircraft carrier. So I've put a bit of fading down there and a bit over the decals, and then I've put a few bits of streaks and a few bit fading on the sort of more raised areas. I've used the Abtai Lung oils, and it's okay, and I've tried to fade the decals a little bit as well with the oils. Doesn't look great, it's not perfect. When I've embedded the decals down, they've gone down fine, and a lot of them, the ones that were pretty thick, have gone okay. However, once I've checked them over a couple of hours later, there's a few little bits of bubbles here, but it's almost like the decal solution has sort of melted the carrier film over the top of them, so that's been a bit of an issue there. The wash I've used is Flory's clay wash, which is this one, which has been great. It's worked brilliant, it's wiped off fine. I left it nearly 2 days and it still wiped off fine, but I believe that was probably because it's the first time I've used an aqua gloss, so that's probably why that's done that. The pitot tubes at the back here snapped off numerous times, and when you look down level with the tail fin, they are wonky. I've had to, basically the top one is the actual kit part, which I got fed up with breaking off, so I ended up just cutting it off again. And the second one down is actually a bit of copper wire, so I've added that because the other kit part flew off and I couldn't find it. The metals that you see are the AK Extreme metals, which is the first time I've using them, which I really think they're great, so I will be using those again. The cockpit is all photo etch, which is Edward, and also they are replacement resin seats because the kit seats were a bit naff and basic, so they are resin seats. They are Aries, I think. Yeah, okay, again my inexperience showed through with the resin seats because I'd sprayed them black and then I started to detail paint them, but then I was finding I was going over detail paint that I'd done and, you know, leaving little marks on it, so I sort of had to decide which bits I needed to start with, so next time I know for that, so that's a learning curve. The bottom of the cockpit is actual decals. They're okay, they didn't sort of sit too well, and if you look properly really close you'll see a bit of overlapping onto the actual cockpit glass. I've used Montex masks for the inside and the outside, which have been great, they work fine. What else have I done? I've got Edward replacement wheels, they are resin, and I've also fogged the cockpit, Randy Cunningham's actual cockpit glass. What I did is I got some lacquer thinner on the end of a cockpit, a cotton wool bud, and I wanted just to give them a good clean, the glass, but I actually forgot that I was using Decorator's lacquer thinner, which of course is very, very strong, and it's fogged it slightly, but of course it's bang in the middle, so that's buggered that one up. So all in all, I'm quite happy that it's now done. I used the AK Real colours for the first time. They are really nice. I've done the black basing, which for you guys that perhaps new to it and just joining this video and not seen the other ones, other updates of this. Black basing is you prime it black, then you put your base colour, you sort of mottle your base colour on top of the priming, and then you start applying your base colour but in thin layers. So of course you get all this sort of, you know, bits of fading here and there when it's done. I think for the first time I've done it, and I've ever done it, I'm quite happy with. So that was quite, I'm quite pleased with that. The decals, I've actually for the first time tried the extra strong UMP stuff just to give it a go. Yeah, I like it and it's very good. However, don't apply the extra strong to the very small stencils because it will melt the buggers, and if you sort of try and move them around late, you'll crumble them, which is what I've done with a couple of them. So I've just used basically either the American stuff, what's it called, Walther's Solver set, or I've used the basic Micro Sol, which is that, on them. So that's been okay. What else to tell you? That's about it really. I'm glad it's done now, because my mojo had gone again because I was just letting it drag on for so long again. It's my own fault, but yeah, I think what I'm going to try and do is now, if I come to do another aircraft, I'm going to try and find a couple of kits that are not with a fuselage, you have to join them together like so. I've got a couple of half decent aircraft kits in the stash that next time I come to do an aircraft or a wingy thing, I shall do ones where you just put the top and it hides the sort of, there's no need for seam lines underneath. It's the first time I've used the Abtide lung oils, the grease and oil for inside the wheel bays and that, which to be honest I'm quite happy with. I think that's okay and it doesn't look too bad. If I'd sort of given myself more time and I wasn't so fed up with it, I perhaps would have tried to pick out the odd wiring or two on the inside of the wheel bay at the front. I have chipped the tyres, so if you can see, I don't know if it'll pick it up there, but I have chipped the tyres slightly and basically added some lighter black paint over them to make them look worn. I've added a bit of staining round by the fuel tank there, which you might pick up on. The staining underneath I've added on the silvering, which is basically oil paint. I just didn't want to go through and use the thing that I did with the Lancaster, which was I used the airbrush to add the staining on. I wanted to try the oils and see how I could use the oils, and with it being over sort of a glossy sort of coat, it was, I don't know, I think if a professional or somebody that knows what they're talking about really looks close at that, then they'll pick it apart. I've added a bit of faded white onto some of the white panel lining, and I've streaked the wash as I was getting it off, just to add the odd few bits of streaking. I've tried to fade that decal because of obviously it's on the fold of where the wings fold. Yeah, it seems okay, but I think if you look really close again, a professional will pick it out a mile away. Now, I did have a problem on the decals, on the missiles, on the ordnance. On these thinner missiles, they've got like rims that go round it, and on the instructions it asks for the decal to go over that. Well, the decal is actually too big for that sort of lining on the missile, so it just looks naff. The decal looks all wrinkly and all that type of thing. So again, another learning curve in future if that's the case. I won't apply the decals, I shall paint the circle on. Again, I've used AK Real colours for it. So yeah, all in all, I'm happy with the AK Real colours. Considering I'm not a wingy thing sort of modeller, I'm happy. Half and half, I think, really. I'm glad it's over, and I'm back on my next project is definitely going to be the IDF project. So I am happy that I'm coming back on to my favoured army, and I can't wait for it for the group build. So yeah, that's it really. I can't really tell you anything else. If anybody's got any questions or anything, then please email me, because the email is on the main description of what my channel is all about. Or if you go on to Facebook under Steve Mottram, you will see me, and you can message me, or message me on the comments underneath this video. I'm glad it's done, let's just say that. I can't say whether or not it's a fantastic kit, because I've not really built many. This is the first Phantom I've ever built, so you know, I would build another one, and I'd like to build another version of it, not the J version. I'd like to perhaps the G or something like that, and I'd like to perhaps try a Zukimura kit or an Academy kit perhaps next, I don't know. But that's it guys, so as you can tell I'm a bit deflated really, so I'm just glad this is over and done with. So this final reveal of this, Randy Cunningham's F-4J Phantom 2 Showtime 100. Thanks guys, hope you're well, and may the force be with you. Bye.